My today's talk is on role of pharmacist in patient safety. So initially, I want to make a disclaimer that whatever I will discuss, all these are my opinions and they are not the views of my employer. So before we start, let's go through some facts which you are already aware. In 1947, when we got independence, that time the life expectancy in India was 37 years, and in 2020, it's 69 years. So this is a fact, but here the message is the role of pharmacist has been increased from 37 years to now 69 years. So we need to we got the chance to touch human life till the age 69. Another important fact that top 10 global causes of death are like all mainly chronic diseases, cancer, heart disease, stroke. Likewise, here in India also, ischemic heart disease, COPD, cancer, stroke, low respiratory tract infection, tuberculosis. All these are long-term diseases, chronic diseases, where the pharmacist get more chance to deal with patient care for many years. So today's theme of World Pharmacist Day is pharmacy always trusted for your health. So for many years, pharmacists have consistently been named among the top 5 most trusted professionals in some surveys. So we are trusted because of positive relationships, competency, and consistency. So let us keep doing good things for the betterment of human life, and I wish you all happy Pharmacist Day. So trust, it takes years to build and seconds to break and forever to repair. So we have built this trust in last many years here in India as a pharmacist. So there are two aspects, patient safety and medication safety. So patient safety is patient being free from any harm when he is receiving the healthcare, and medication safety is the component of patient safety. It's a subset of patient safety, which is preventing and managing medication when the medication error, when the patient is taking these medicines. So World Patient Safety Day, that's 17th September, 8 days before we have celebrated. So patient safety come first, followed by World Pharmacist Day, that's on today, 25th September. So when we are talking about healthcare system, patient safety, so the most important here is quality. So do we have quality healthcare system? So according to me, the quality parameters for healthcare are like, I have acronym as STEEP. So what this STEEP, it means safe, timely, effective, efficient, equitable, patient-centered. So what is safe? It is the ability to provide healthcare that is free from avoidable harm. And here the role of pharmacist is very important. Timely. We have experienced this during the COVID. So there are long queues. So we need to avoid delay and long waiting time to provide care when it is needed. Effective. It is the ability to provide healthcare that is grounded in the best medical science. So considering the development in IT, infrastructure and all, we can get the best medical treatment during these days. Efficient. It is the ability to use resources wisely. So we are already aware about the doctor-patient ratio, pharmacist-patient ratio. So we have very limited human resources. So we need to use those resources very wisely. Equitable, which is very important. We should provide quality healthcare to each and every human being without any preference or prejudice or bias. And lastly, the most important is it should be a patient-centered. So we need to provide care which is respectful and responsive to the patient as well as to his family. So in the Indian
Sir, I think there is some sort of disconnection. So, Manish sir?
Yeah, we'll wait for a minute. I'll call you.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
We need to discuss how important our role is as a community pharmacy or as a hospital pharmacy or also in industry, in academia or as a regulator.
Rahul, sorry to interrupt.
Yes.
Actually, it seems your internet connection was not there for a few seconds. So you have to reshare and then start.
Oh, sorry. Slides are not visible?
Not visible.
Oh. So is it visible now?
Yes.
So I was mentioning pharmacist is the essential healthcare professional. So we work in community and hospital as a direct role, and indirectly we work in industry, in academia, and as a regulator in indirect patient care. So the role, direct role, where we come in direct contact with patient. So how we impact the patient safety. So how we can improve it. So identification of patient health related problems based on signs and symptoms we need to identify. Determination of appropriate medicines for individual patient is equally important. So some of the live example Pawar sir has already given. Then dispensing skills. He was talking about compounding skill as well as dispensing skill. So we need to focus more on dispensing skills. Equally, the counseling skills are important. We need to counsel the patient, we need to advise, we need to provide a complete information including correct use and medicine storage. So medicine storage is very important. Even though the people, they are literate, they don't store medicines properly. I have seen some of the literate people, very educated people, they are keeping their medicines on the dashboard of the car where they are directly exposed to the sunlight. Then monitoring medication therapy and resolving any medication management related problem for the patient, and promotion of health, wellness and lifestyles. So all these aspects are directly covered by the pharmacists, those who are working in community as well as in hospital. So there are some ways of safe medication practice. We need to also focus on that. That is the patient information. We need to obtain a complete information about the patient pertaining to its socio-demographic information like age, weight, health, its literacy level. If we know about the literacy level, we can educate accordingly. We can create awareness among the patient and patient's relative accordingly. Then clinical information about the allergy, laboratory status, and then we can counsel him about how to take the medication, drug-drug interaction, then about the medication history and comorbidities. If they are taken properly, then it will be a safe medication. Then medication information. So we need to provide accurate and usable medication information to all healthcare practitioners. And we need to ensure that this information is accessible and up to date. So here the two important things are there, like prescribing information, that is specially for healthcare professionals, and another one is patient information leaflet. So both these things, they are missing here in Indian settings. We are not finding, but in the regulated market, like in US, Europe, these are the important aspects when the drugs are prescribed. So here the A to Z information, very updated information about the drug is given, and the patient as well as healthcare professionals, they are made aware about the latest information of the drug. Communication of medication is equally important. Miscommunication between the physician, pharmacist and nurse is a common cause of medication error. So I was one of the victims during my COVID treatment last year. So during the COVID treatment, Xarelto is the brand which was prescribed to me, and pharmacist came with Zerodol. So Xarelto, it's a blood thinner, while Zerodol, it's an analgesic. So there is a huge difference, and we need to really take care, and we need to avoid such miscommunications. Then medicine labeling, packaging and nomenclature. So here you can see both the medicines, they look alike. Pawar sir has also mentioned about the same. So this is a gabapentin, this is gemfibrozil, 600 mg, 600 mg. If the patient is not so literate, he is not aware about this, there is a chance of medication error. So here is the direct role of community pharmacist or hospital pharmacist. Then medication storage, how we are storing. So store the medications or medicines appropriately and safely. So this is the scenario in majority of the pharmacy. Then medication device acquisition, its use and monitoring. So when we purchase the medication device in the hospital setup, we need to ensure its safety, and when they are used during that period also, its safety should be ensured. And the most important aspect is staff competency and education. So the skills of the pharmacist, abilities, knowledge of all healthcare professionals should be maintained. There should be a continuous education program for all the healthcare professionals. So according to me, there are some key approaches to achieve the patient safety. The first one, what I thought was about the risk management. So in developed countries like in US and Europe, there are REMS programs, which are like risk evaluation and mitigation strategies. So the same way can be adopted over here. We need to identify the risk associated with the medicines. We need to plan them. We need to monitor them continuously. And by this, we can control the risk associated with the medicines. So we need to have an individual or healthcare organization to monitor, prevent, and mitigate the risk associated with medicines and to the patient safety. Second important thing here is safety culture. We need to inculcate safety culture in individuals as well as in the organizations. So the organizational behavior, if we have of safety, so the staff is having safety culture, it will ultimately lead to patient safety. And lastly, the system approach. If the entire system needs to be revised for patient safety, we need to identify weakness in the organizational processes and we need to correct them. So by these key approaches, we can achieve patient safety. So this is all about where the patient, pharmacist is directly involved in the patient care, but there are other ways where pharmacists are not directly involved or it is having indirect impact on the patient safety, and the areas are like the people like us who are working in industry, people working in academics, people working in regulatory. So we can develop the policies, policy development as a governance of medicine management. So as academician, as a regulatory, and as the industry people, we come together and we can develop the policies for the patient safety. We can adhere to the national legislation, regulatory affairs, practice guidelines, code of conduct, ethics code, good pharmacy practices guidelines can be redesigned as per the current requirement. Then continued updating of the knowledge and skills to the continued professional development that already I mentioned. There should be a continuous medical education program for all healthcare professionals, including the pharmacists, those who are working in community, hospital, in academics, in industry, as well as in the regulatory. And lastly, participation in research. So continuous effort should be made for improving the patient safety. So how we can achieve this? So we can achieve this through the quality and safety. So these are the most sensitive aspects of pharmaceutical business during manufacturing as well as during the distribution. So quality of medicinal product is concurrent to its objective of curing the patient, and a poor quality product cannot be used safely. So quality should be process oriented and safety should be patient centered. So firstly, we'll touch on this quality aspect. So quality is not an act, it's a habit. So poor quality is a problem worldwide. So here, this figure, it depicts that this is not the problem only in India, but worldwide. Poor quality, substandard quality, falsified, counterfeit medication. These are the problems worldwide. We see these different kinds of news in our newspapers. So there are some quality stakeholders and they really need to take the responsibility. So good quality of medicine is sustained by efforts of multiple stakeholders and their synchronized activities. So it can be achieved. Achieving a high degree of quality, it requires a effective medicine legislation and the regulation. So we need to amend those regulations on timely basis. There should be a competent medicinal regulatory agency or authority, which we have in India, but comparatively, the authorities in US and Europe, in developed countries, they have more power, they are more stringent, and we need to really revive or improve our manufacturing practices with adequate quality assurance. So the medicines which are exported in the developed countries, the quality you are already aware, and the medicines which are available in India or the medicines which are sold under the category called as generic, we are already aware what kind of quality they carries. So here one of the important stakeholder is supply chain management. It's altogether a new stream now where pharmaceutical products have different and stringent requirements as compared to other business, and handling, storage and distribution of these medicinal products, they need a special attention to avoid degradation and deterioration. So right from manufacturing plant till it reach to the customer, these are important steps where the drug is reached as a quality drug so that we can have a safe drug. A part of this supply chain management is good distribution practice, which is an essential concept of pharmaceutical supply chain management to ensure systematic distribution of medicinal products from manufacturing site to the retailer. And the main concerns arising during this distribution is deterioration, counterfeit drugs and pilferage. So substandard drug, counterfeit drug or fake drugs. So you are already aware, many people, they try to earn money by shortcuts. So they make currency notes fake. Likewise, many people, they make medicines fake. So shortcut routes make this stream with the wrong intention. So it gets bad name. So this is all about the quality stakeholders. Now what about safety stakeholders? So the safety stakeholders are like government, industry, hospital, academia, various associations of medical and pharmaceutical professionals, then medicinal information center, healthcare professionals like physicians, nurses, pharmacists, dentists, patient themselves, and media. So what are their roles and responsibilities, how they are responsible for this safety? So government needs to establish the national pharmacovigilance system in the respective country. So likewise, here in India, we have PVPI, Pharmacovigilance Program of India. So we need to develop regulations for medicine monitoring, provide up-to-date information on adverse drug reactions to the professionals as well as to the consumers. We need to monitor the effect of drug safety or pharmacovigilance through the indicators and outcomes. So these are the basic responsibilities of the government. Industry needs to provide quality medicines with assured safety and efficacy, need to assess the adverse drug reactions which they are receiving, and further they need to report it to the respective regulatory authority. Hospitals, they promote incorporation of this pharmacovigilance plan into their procedures and into their clinical practice. But here in India, considering the workload of the doctors and other healthcare professionals, it seems very difficult, but some of the hospitals, they have included it. In academia, we need to teach, we need to train, we need to conduct research about the pharmacovigilance, and we need to include this in our curriculum. And already PCI has taken efforts to include this pharmacovigilance in the syllabus. So various associations, they need to provide training, they need to create awareness in the healthcare professionals regarding the drug safety, that's the pharmacovigilance. Then drug information center or the poison centers, they need to provide accurate information on the medication safety. They need to collaborate with the national pharmacovigilance centers wherever it's possible. Healthcare professionals like physicians, nurses, pharmacists, they are directly involved in the detection, investigation, management, and reporting of adverse drug reactions. And we need to counsel the patients on adverse drug reactions. Then the patient, being a patient, it is the responsibility of the patient to understand his own health problems and participate in the treatment plan, exactly need to follow whatever the medications or the instructions they are given. And patient need to report those adverse drug reactions to the healthcare professionals, as well as to concomitant use of their medications, whatever they are taking, whether it's a traditional, herbal, Ayurvedic medications they are taking, they need to inform to their healthcare professionals or to the physician or to the pharmacist. And in the media, they need to really create awareness in the community about safe use of medicines. So pharmacovigilance is involved in the patient safety, so we can achieve patient safety through pharmacovigilance. So pharmacovigilance is one of the important aspects for achieving patient safety. So why pharmacovigilance? Dying from disease may be inevitable, but dying from medicine is unacceptable. And that's why this drug safety or pharmacovigilance is required. We are already aware about the definition of this pharmacovigilance, that's the science and activities relating to the detection, assessment, understanding, and prevention of adverse effects or any other drug-related problem, which is defined by WHO. So there are certain risks associated with the medicine, and pharmacovigilance is the science which is concerned with the risk of medicines. So what are those risks? Risks are like adverse drug reactions, overdose, misuse, abuse, so it may be intentional or unintentional. Medication errors, this is very possible during the hospitalization or in outpatients also. OPD areas, off-label use, many times physicians, they prescribe drugs other than its authorized or approved indication. So that time, it's the responsibility of that physician. Quality defects, substandard, spurious, falsely labeled, falsified, counterfeit medications. And also the lack of efficacy. When the drug is not giving appropriate efficacy, it's an adverse drug reaction according to the pharmacovigilance. So what is this adverse drug reaction? we are already aware about this definition. It's a response to a drug which is noxious and unintended, which occurs at dose normally used in man for the prophylaxis, diagnosis, or therapy of disease, or for medication. For the modification of physiological function. So at the normal dose, it is happening. And what's adverse event? Adverse event, it is untoward medical occurrence in patient administered a medicinal product which does not necessarily have a causal relationship with this treatment. So it may or may not be related to the treatment, but this event has happened during the drug administration, and that's why it is associated or labeled with that drug. So if we are aware about this adverse event and adverse drug reaction, we can counsel the patient and we can minimize the medication error and we can improve the patient safety. So there are some economic impacts of this adverse drug reaction. In US, there was some study. It was performed in 2001 and published in 2001, and it was done in 2000. So what it said that the cost of drug-related morbidity and mortality, it has exceeded $177.4 billion. So which is the cost to the country of adverse drug reaction, and it may exceed the cost of medication themselves. So out of these, 30 to 60% of adverse drug reactions, they are preventable, and we can save the cost and we can help the nation for building the economy. So there is a lesson from history. This is a very well-known lesson, thalidomide disaster. I'm not going in the details, but we need to understand this. And because of these adverse drug reactions, many drugs, they have been withdrawn from the market. There is a big list. I have just summarized a few. So there is a recall because of adverse drug reaction, which is affecting the patient safety. So the aim of drug safety or pharmacovigilance is early detection of unknown safety problems. If we know them, we can improve the patient safety, detection of increase in frequency, identification of risk factors, quantifying the risk, preventing patients from being affected unnecessarily. So these are some of the important aims or objectives of pharmacovigilance. So rational and safe use of medication, we can say in nutshell, is the aim of pharmacovigilance. So in spite of this, there are certain things we need to know. We need to overcome the phobia and panic. There are some reality checks like ADRs, they happen. ADRs happen with all drugs, even with normal saline also it is possible. So all medicines are used in spite of their adverse drug reactions. And here, you as a healthcare professional or you as a patient or a consumer is having important role. So these adverse drug reactions, they are classified as serious or non-serious. So what are those serious? There are certain criteria like when there is a death, if the adverse event or adverse drug reaction is life-threatening, it requires hospitalization. If the patient become handicapped or there is a permanent disability, it causes congenital abnormality, or if there is important medical event where it requires medical intervention, if one of these is there, we can call it as serious, and if it is not falling in this criteria, it will be non-serious. So whenever such adverse reactions or adverse events they happen, we need to report it. So as per the pharmacovigilance practices, to make this case valid, the 4 important minimum criteria are required, like patient, event, drug, and reported. So about patient, there should be identifiable patient, there should be identifiable event, there should be a definite event, there should be identifiable drug, and there should be identifiable report. So when we have this 4 information, we call it as a valid case and we report it to the regulators if required. So when to report such adverse drug reactions, It's a 24/7 round the year activity. There are no barriers of holidays and weekends. So as soon as we receive it, we need to pass on this information. So where to pass on this information? Where to give this information? We can give this information about adverse drug reaction to the manufacturer or to the marketing company of which we are taking the medicine, or if we don't have any information about it, we can report it to the Pharmacovigilance Program of India, PVPI. So there is a mail ID, there is a toll-free number, or simply on Google, if you can go, there is a mobile app, ADR PVPI, you can download, and through that app, you can report it to the regulators. So these are basic requirements. Being a healthcare professional, really we need to check how many times we have reported such adverse drug reaction and we have worked for patient safety. So these are the areas we are least bothered, we are least concerned about it. But if we really think about it, if we improvise the system, it will really help to improve the patient safety. So there are such type of forms available. You can download this form, adverse event reporting form. Each regulatory agency, they have their own forms. This is the form prepared by PVPI for reporting of adverse event, and it can be reported by the channels which I have explained you earlier. Apart from this, in the industry, we need to conduct this safety monitoring during the clinical trial or even after getting approval of the marketing of the drug. So during the clinical trial, developmental safety update reports we need to prepare. We need to prepare safety management plans, serious adverse event SAE reporting, its processing, medical review needs to be done. There are DSMBs, drug safety monitoring boards, for some special type of molecules. There are certain risk management strategies and risk management plans are there during the clinical development of the drug. So similarly, after getting approval, that is post-marketing, it is also mandatory to have safety monitoring of the drugs. So there are certain areas through which we are monitoring it, through the medical information, through the literature search. Then we get these ADRs or adverse events. We need to process these individual case safety reports in the safety database. If required, it can be reported to the regulators. It is called as expedited reporting. Then there are certain periodic reports, PSURs needs to be prepared, and on a particular intervals, they needs to be submitted to the regulators. So whatever the cases or adverse events we receive, we need to perform a signal management. We need to identify the signal. We need to validate these signals, and we need to report these signals to the regulators. Apart from this, we need to have this risk management plan in place. Then there are certain responsibilities of the business partners. They are defined in safety data exchange agreements. We need to communicate the safety concerns to the regulators, which we identify during the regulatory intelligence. We need to report or we need to respond to the regulatory authority concerns. So these are some of the important activities during this safety monitoring we need to perform after approval of these drugs. So through the pharmacovigilance also we can achieve the patient safety. So I thought these are some important areas where as a community pharmacist, where as a hospital pharmacist, or even as an academician, as an industry person, or as a regulator, we directly or indirectly contribute. So considering our Indian setup, after this, there is a take-home message that we need to really increase awareness of value of pharmacists in the healthcare system. It has increased many-fold nowadays, but still there is a scope for increasing this awareness in general people. Then implementation of appropriate policies. Still our policies needs to be revised made appropriate as per the regulated market like US and Europe, and we need to optimize the use of highly trained pharmacists to improve the quality of healthcare system. So these are some of the important thoughts I was thinking to share with you. So this is all from my side. So safety is the priority and quality is the standard in patient safety. If you have any further query or question, now this we can discuss it. Thank you for this wonderful opportunity.